Kochani, bardzo Was przepraszam, że nie udało się połączyć live. Mieliśmy bardzo duże problemy techniczne. Próbowaliśmy przez godzinę tutaj z Lanolą, żeby się połączyć z Wami tutaj przez YouTube. Natomiast pomyślałem, żeby już wykorzystać okazję, że jesteśmy tutaj w dwójkę, że nagram to nagranie jakby tak po prostu, że będziemy live, ale po prostu, że my to nagramy wcześniej i Wy później napiszecie tylko w komentarzach Wasze wrażenia. Temat jest ten sam. To jest Polak i Amerykanka o Chinach. Ja teraz ze względu oczywiście, że Lanola pochodzi ze Stanów, przeskoczę na angielski. So I'll now switch to English. So this is Lanola. Introduce yourself briefly.
Hello. Hi, I'm Lanola. Nice to meet you guys.
So we met each other on poetry readings and having a conversation. I just thought this is a good idea. We kind of share an experience of American and Polish living in China, because this is like some time ago I had live with Chinese girls, and you can check in description the live if you would like to see. And I was like having this idea, also following some suggestions, like can you do like contrast, maybe like America and Poland. This is like Europe, America and Asia, China, because of course currently we also have the global situation what is ongoing, and I thought this is a good idea since as Lanola, so I will live for some time in China and we have our own experiences. So with that being said, maybe let's give me first you to talk about your experience in China. What was life in China? How actually it came that you came to China?
So how I got here.
Yeah. Like what got you here?
It's not a normal, not usually a normal thing. Most people, when I tell people that I live in China and I've actually moved here twice, before and after COVID, they kind of go, "What? Why are you doing that?" And so I was here in 2019 teaching, right? And I wanted to teach at an international school. I wanted a big experience. I wanted to teach the best and the brightest. And I had had this idea from growing up in America that, Chinese education was the top education, and it was going to be the most best place for me to, stretch myself as an international global leader of young minds. And so I came, and beautiful job. I have a very nice job here, and I'm stuck with the same company. It is British owned though. So and we thankfully the school was able to make it through the cuts that they did of schools, because it is a specialty type of school. A lot of schools didn't make it after COVID happened, and that was a really weird experience, right? Were you here during? Oh, you left.
I left. I had this experience. I left China exactly at the time when COVID started. So when I arrived in Europe, of course it was some time when it came to Europe, but at the time when I came, I heard from my friend living back then in China. Oh, you were really lucky because you left China just. Last call.
Last call. Nick of time. You're like, I knew I was leaving here for some reason. Yeah, it was surreal. It was so surreal. I mean, streets full, and then it was a ghost town. And so, of course, I have family in the States and kids, and I thought for a little bit, I'll just outrun COVID and I'll go to Thailand for a month, and of course, by then, all the videos were coming out, and it was pretty scary. And I was like, oh my gosh. So hustled, packed in Shanghai and left. And, then, of course, teaching in America, that's its own struggle. It has its own struggles. I think education all over the world struggling. It's definitely in a state of transition and flux right now. But staying with the same company, working 2 jobs, I decided to come back. But it is different now from when I was here before. Like, what do you notice?
Well, I can tell you because I am the first batch of foreigners coming back to China after COVID. So I came back in 2023, and the China I knew before pandemic, it is different China I see now. Like, first, people changed significantly. Not only they get this Weimin Zhongguo, so like the civilized China, like in metro you can hear like, do not drink, do not like play music loud, do not do these behaviors. Also the, let's say, attitude of people's change a bit. On one hand, this is like, in Shanghai especially, they don't already have this so much like, oh, foreigner, why Guaren. But still, of course, you experience, but normally these are people who come from like village side and they see foreigners like for the first time and they get this, let's say, excitement. But I would say, this is, of course, my point of view. Chinese, especially like Baoan, like this, like Techin, this all, let's say, guards, they got more aggressive. There are more guards overall in China. At least like when I go either to Hangzhou, Suzhou, Shanghai, I see this Baoan. A lot of these guys everywhere, they get more aggressive towards people overall. Because I don't want to say towards foreigners, because of course they're more aggressive to Chinese, but also they get more aggressive to foreigners. I don't know if this is your experience too, but this is at least what I have noticed. Of course, from perspective, when I lived in China, it was 2016, 2018. It was very different, and now is also very different. What changed? China seems to be, this is the very important word, seems to be more open to foreigners than before, because let's say more Chinese, they speak English. More likely when you are a foreigner you get like scholarship, whatever. But of course this is a part of them like attracting people to come back to China, what actually I would say works well. But still I have this inner feeling. This is based on energy. This is not based on something like physical, like something that you can say, give a proof. This is a kind of like spiritual intuition, like where I sense there is something ongoing in China. And one of things, it was very strong to me last year. I got the message. This is like, you know, this inner voice that told me no matter what, leave China before 2026, because this country is going to be like dangerous, and you come back after 2028, which I was discussing with Polish clairvoyance, Krzysztof Jackowski. If now I switched to Polish because this one I will message to the clairvoyant. Jeżeli pan mnie ogląda, panie Krzysiu, to tutaj właśnie mówiłem koleżance o tej przepowiedni, o której też pan wspominał z mojego listu do pana Wizja Chiny na żywo. Właśnie tutaj o tym wspomniałem koleżance o roku 2026 i my się tak tutaj dzielimy swoimi takimi spostrzeżeniami. Coming back to English, what are your like feelings about China? What are your like experience before and after pandemic?
Before pandemic, you know, I was riding a wave of like feeling very posh and very, you know, very international scene, you know, lots of people, lots of networking, fine food, beautiful clothes. It was exciting and also very beautiful. Like I was in love with the Chinese aesthetic. I thought, oh my gosh, from where I came from, I thought, my goodness, you know, my mate at the time, we lived here, and I thought that this was the new way. You know what I mean? I thought that this was, from what I had come from and seen in my own country and the crumbling of my own, the society, American society, and following the Native American traditions in my own home country very closely and having a strong sense of spirituality. I felt definitely a feeling of doom and crumbling in my own country. So when I came to China in 2019, I felt it was refreshing to see so many people working together and like on the same page, and it was beautiful to see so many families and kids.
Yeah.
Like with grandparents, and like the family system was, kids were happy, they were well taken care of. I really appreciated the early childhood development, the focus they placed on the mother care in the womb and the baby. It was very inspiring to me to see that such a large country with so many people could run itself for the greater good. And then of course this was shown even more obviously to me, the split between China and America, which is so crazy to see that split in my country politically between every division. I mean, the snake has divided everything into just chop the segments. And so I working in a middle school and coming back and seeing such an individualized me, so many different clashing beliefs and ideologies, and then coming from this place where it was like all one, so homogenous. It was so weird. It was like I didn't know how to blend these two. God, I guess I would guess I won't call them an opposing forces, but I'll tell you now, the rhetoric, like the news in America focus on China is very negative. So there's even more of a split there. And it's strange because having lived in China, and even now with all the changes from before and pre-COVID and after, the ideas that are surrounding what this country is and what the people are like, and especially the government, and is very different from my experience with just normal people. And a lot of times I wonder, like, where is this information? Who is spinning these tales? Because it almost feels like it's like a fable or a folk tale that's like, but it's not rooted in any kind of reality. And hear the most strange things in my own home country. And I wonder if that's how it is for Chinese people here. Like, do they get these same kind of stories told to them? I have noticed with my students, young kids, are talking more about Chinese and American war. Also Chinese, Japan, they have always talked about there's that kind of, but now this is a couple times it's kind of come up like a feeling of, and I noticed that today on the stream on WeChat, all of a sudden I see this big death of America on this, and it was like it was a title of a book, but the way that they're presenting it, it's just you see in red and this, and you're just like, you're caught, like, you know, and it's I don't usually get scared because I feel like in the breaking of things that there's always God is always working in the Spirit is always working in all places, right? For the good of all, you know. I just wonder, you know, what this means for my future.
Here I can come with 2 steps, because this one, that's why I was curious to have this American, European, Chinese experience, because I will touch now from European point of view 2 topics. First, you mentioned motherhood, like you have the leave for mother, mother time, like this, let's say 30 days, 3 months in Europe. United States, I know you have no paid. And this is like the first shock for American, because in Europe we just have it the same as in China. But the clue point you touch, and here I can tell we see it a little bit differently. We don't have this anti-China propaganda at all in Europe. as United States, more we have a kind of experience even welcoming to China. But on the other hand, we have this kind of rough touch with reality in China, because we say in Europe we romanticize China. It is we consider the culture, the history, stuff like this. Whereas when you come, and especially you get know after cultural revolution how everything changed, this is where we, let's say Europeans, have this different experience of China. But what you said, especially the picture of war between China and the United States, there are also fake news that my Chinese friend, he told me that are spread among Chinese social media. For example, there is a video where in English American speaker, because this is like based in America, and American speaker speaks in English about God, and when you read subtitles, you see like, now I just will make up because I can't remember, but like, we are aimed to kill all the Chinese. These bad sentences that are totally fake. These are not matching to the English, but because Chinese, they don't know English, they only see subtitles. They believe we, let's say, want to, kill them, whatever, and probably, I don't know, because that I'm very curious how it goes in United States. Do you believe you might have same or similar fake news?
Oh yeah, like all the news, like, but they don't say like, I haven't seen any where they're like the Chinese people want it, but it's more like they want to take over the world, or that more about the way that they get into the American psyche, right, is like through this idea of taking our freedom away. So whatever the news is spinning, this hatred is they're vilifying this idea of everyone working together by playing on our American, because we've grown up like we're American, we're independent, we love our freedom, and see this, I think this really points to like the bigger problem of ignorance, and it's funny because like I've taught all over in Alaska, all over, and I'll tell you, Cordy, people are people no matter what country you're in. They're kind, and it's just so funny because sometimes we're gonna go to war with someone. I'm like, oh really? Well, if you were gonna have a war, and who are you gonna take to war? In this here. Yeah, this is and exactly, the kids are like, well, I don't think I would go to war, and I'm like, yeah, like, you know what I mean? And so it's just so, yeah, there's a lot. And you know what? I get this sinking, I know what it's over. Well, it's always usually rooted in money and power, right?
Yeah.
But the dollar, and like, what's the...
You mean the BRICS?
Yes.
BRICS,
and like, I think, was it Indonesia or something that just entered the BRICS too? So I think they have over Turkey. 50% of the total population of the world is on China's side, right? Yeah. And so there's this like push, because if you think about it, the dollar is like basically the foundation of the whole world market. Like everything is spinning around the United States. But I just want you guys to know that it is not the American people that are like creating this. Yeah. We don't have any choice, really. We've just been brainwashed into thinking that we have I don't know what, but it's all crumbling. No, we've been brainwashed to think we don't have a choice, really is what it is.
That is exactly what I can confirm from European side, because we have, let's say, the same information, but it's not about China, it's about states doing like mess. Mm-hmm. I will not, because YouTube doesn't like some topics, so I just touch it like delicately. Delicacy is important sometimes in YouTube, but
I'm not very good at delicacy, but I'll try.
The point is, I agreed. We have the same, like United States. They are doing this call like about China because they want to save dollar. This is what you said. And the other thing, because that's why I wanted to ask you, you as an American, how you experience living in China, and what could you say to American viewers who maybe watch this video first, and second, what could you say to Chinese, maybe not viewers from China, but those who live United States? So, we can kind of make a bridge between each other, because this is like, I'm from Poland, so like Europe, United States, China, Asia, so we kind of can create a bridge. What could be a bridge?
Well, I think the bridge. We're all human beings. We all want autonomy. We all want to be able to take care of ourselves and make decisions for ourselves and our family that are the best for us and for others. And we're not different. You know what I mean? We're the same. Like if there was a tragedy and we were all in the same boat dying, or something, and needed to help each other, there would be no divisions between a country or a government or any of those things. They don't matter. They're just constructions. I feel like they're created to keep people in a lot of fear. And I noticed, like, even recently, a lot of the news in my own country, which is so sad, is specifically manipulating. And so I would say that on all fronts, from all the lovely people in China that I met from all different countries and backgrounds, and all the Chinese people here have always been so kind to me, and I've always had such great experiences. And my students, they're young. We need to take care of our children, like all of us together. I think that that's something that's always going to unify. And I would say to focus on the kids, and like that's the bridge for me, is like, what kind of environment do we want to create for our kids and for the family? And I would say to everyone, like, wake up, like there's love here.
True.
There's not any separation. Think about it. Why would so much money, time, and energy be put in trying to talk someone into believing something that they don't actually ever see?
True.
Because look around you. If you go out in the world anywhere, in the moment, are you surrounded? I'm sure there's chaos. There's chaos happening in the world. But right now, where I am, and I ask anybody to look around you, look where you are. Are you in danger right now?
True.
Are you hurting? Is someone from another country, Chinese, American, Polish, a European, attacking you right now? Are you being threatened? Do you not have food? Do you not? Now, there may be struggles, but we're okay.
True.
We're okay. And like, am I going to live in the fear of my mind and let it tell me how life is? Or am I going to like feel around me and like look around and be like, oh, actually things are really nice. Like, I can't complain. There might be problems, situations. Man, but I would hate for whole countries of people to get the wrong idea about each other just because a few people want to make money and siphon all of our energy into 1 or 2 or 5 people.
Yeah.
Like, I would say that in the end, the people are the ones with the power. And so it's where we choose to put our energy that gives that thing its power, right? Whether that's negative or not. So if I sit and I'm believing, oh, this about Europe and that about China, I'm giving all of my energy and attention to this thing. And in a way, I'm depleting myself, you know what I mean? And there's nothing coming back to me. There's no energy exchange like we're having now.
True.
You know what I mean? Like it's just me in my box thinking in fear. And like, what's that saying? Any publicity is good publicity. So even if it's a bad publicity, even if it's good publicity, I remember when that thing happened with, you know, the DIDDY situation was happening, right? There was a video on YouTube, okay? And there was a ton of videos, right?
Even from China, YouTube. Like people suddenly are dropping down.
Oh, so many.
Yeah.
Well, this girl was like, watch. She goes, documents are being released right now with names of super high up people in the United States government. And if we're so dumb to think that these powerful people are just in America and that they don't network and figure out how to like control everything all over the world globally, right? It's like a game. We cannot be so blind to think that they wouldn't do the crazy stuff that they would. And so this girl made a video and she's like, the documents are coming all the way out. And she goes, watch. Within the next few days, there's going to be an increase in murders, fires, and something else. And within 2 days, the LA wildfires started. And you think to yourself, wow, what a great distraction at the perfect time when truth was going to be revealed, to think that could, and then that video gone. You know what I mean? Not there anymore. And it's just so, you think, no way, somebody wouldn't do that. But if you think about a person and a person, people can do pretty crazy stuff.
True.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
For power or to gain, keep control, whatever. And then all those headlines come out, and yet we just sit there and we take it. And we watch it crumbling. But then in a way, I almost think like, if a country was like a person, I thought to myself, why would a person like, why would a person let themselves be governed by someone like the current president again or something, right?
Yeah.
And I almost feel like as a country, I don't know about Europe, but in a way that we are almost like a person that's so in need of change. So they just keep piling on things onto themselves until they break open. Because sometimes big change, like what needs to happen, can't just, we keep chipping at the little, it's like pulling out a knot. It's almost like you need to take like a lighter and just catch it on fire and just explode it, right?
And this is what I will surprise you now. Are you ready for it? There is a prediction from Sister Faustina. This is the Polish nun who lived in 20th century. She said a prediction that ignition will start from Poland. And I don't know what like is going on, but maybe there is something like, because I told you about this 2026 with China.
Yeah.
Maybe there is something like either going on in Poland, or maybe there's a mission for maybe me, because like I was wondering this prediction I told you about 2026, how could it be true? Because we live in 2025 this is actually March, so we are like 1/4 till 2026. And of course, like when it was March 2019, we couldn't foresee there will be pandemic. Maybe it's the same with what is going on in 2026 with China. But I was wondering, since I knew like this prediction about ignition from Poland, also regarding the current situation, like United States influencing Europe and Europe willing to have connection with China, and some countries like Turkey joining BRICS. Now I talk because you talk from American point of view, I talk from Polish point of view. And since you mentioned this fire, I was like, no, I have to tell you this prediction. And how you think this prediction works for you? Since you know
I've
it.
never, what, with the nun's prediction?
Yeah.
Yeah, or how you had that. Well, I believe you got yourself a message, a message, because you know your consciousness.
But
you know the truth.
The nun's prediction
it's coming
is
out.
Like 8 years ago.
What?
If I calculate the way approximately, yeah.
Wow. So then that would make me want to think about, okay, what is the relationship like with Poland and China and like Europe right now? Like what's going on there politically? And don't you miss the news? Like, don't you miss like real news? Or like, don't you miss like, not this state of like confusion and misdirection, right? This crookedness where we feel like we could actually like be able to like research some things and go, and connect the dots and read some books and stuff and like figure it out. But I feel like technology has us in its iron fist, you know what I mean? And the way that we're going to know the truth is like talking together. Yeah. So that's what I would say too with like China and Poland and Europe and America is like we need to be talking to each other and like communicating together, actual people. Not like not like a video of people or something that was like, I know we're on a video right now, so that's kind of weird, but like there's got to be a way that we can be connected, and I feel like we're getting funneled down this I feel like cattle. Do you ever get that feeling like you're being slowly you know how like a cattle, they herd them all and then they put them down that tube and all of a sudden maybe that ignition is like the, you know, where the sheep gets to the end of the thing and it's thinking, oh, I'm just going along, and then poof, and then it just, something's over, something, you know, shocking happens. That's what I kind of got from that feeling of the nun with the ignition is, I wish I could tell what's being funneled in right now and what's really going on, because I feel very leery about what's happening with the phones. And I know maybe people are going to say, I really don't care what people think, but I mean, this is just my own. I feel like somehow we've been put under a spell or like supremely like initiated into a way of connecting that is very narrowed, controlled, and defined in a way that keeps us, it's like feeling like we're connecting to people on the videos, like we're connecting with the global population and stuff. But where are the places where we can actually get together and like actually in person talk? And I feel like those kind of avenues of actual connection, energetic together, because people need to be around each other to feel, because we can feel the truth, like we can feel each other, where I'm sure if like, I was thinking about this earlier, like if there were robots just walking around, you would feel like if you were connecting with that thing energetically.
More probably by kind of telepathy. Like there is actually ongoing scientific research of connecting human with robots, like with this kind of telepathy.
Uh-huh.
So maybe in the future, yes, but currently this is like robots. They can read us through like when we say something or when they scan something. But this is not like, for example, we can understand robots. So they are still working on this. But coming to the point, what Lanola said about it's a nice international conversation, just to say it like briefly. I want you guys write in comment section your point of view for whatever country you come from, Europe, Africa, because this is like we met only like American and Europe in Asia, so we kind of discussed our like small experience. We also give a sharing of us here in the video, and I would like you guys to talk first. How do you feel about the current situation? If you live in China, how do you feel about this country? And maybe yet touching the living in China, because you are living actually soon China. How could you sum up your experience of living in China? This 5 years, 6 years.
Well, I lived here, I've lived here a total of almost 3 years. So I left for a little bit during COVID and went to the States, but I've had a really good experience. I really like China. I don't pull any punches. I like to teach my students. I mean, we do read classic literature, so we get to talk about a lot of themes and topics. And I think story is a really cool way to connect people is through story. And so I've had a really positive experience with like my Chinese, and I hate to even say Chinese, you know what I mean? Because that's like, but like with all the people in this culture and the country, I mean, I got my nails done yesterday and they were so nice to me, and they just send me I mean, it's really just your energy, you know what I mean? Really, it comes down to the person, I think, and like just how you intermingle with the world. But no, I've not met anybody that was like, it's funny too, because they'll be like, oh, where are you? You know, what are you? And I'll be like, American. And you can kind of see sometimes their face might get, because we've been taught. We've been programmed, literally, to think certain things will pop in our head, and it's not even real, you know what I mean? And so, but then they soften, or it doesn't even matter, you know what I mean? Because I'm just a human being, you know, and in the end of the day, we're just human beings, right? Like, I feel more discriminated against as an American from other foreigners that live here in Shanghai than I do from Chinese people. I've never felt that from China. To me, most Chinese, or like people in China, are pretty, very like, they're respectful. I mean, I haven't had. Now, I don't know how it is with the Boan, but I know my ex-partner got a couple times with the Boan coming at him, and maybe that's because he's a male, and do you know what I mean? But as a female, I haven't, and not to get really, but gender-wise, maybe that's, because there's very clear roles here, you know what I mean, of man and woman and family, and at least for the most part that I can see. But like, I mentor a student here who's 6, and he comes and, I mean, the world's opening up. Kids are opening up. They're questioning. They're not too pleased, I don't think, with how things are. I mean, I don't know. I definitely feel like it's over the dollar, though. Like a lot of this kind of problem, and where our economy's going in the United States, I feel like it's a grab. It's like a grab for power in some really weird ways. I would just love for us to be able to connect more with one another and not have to worry about the communication being censored or stifled, or God, and everybody's on their phone nowadays, but I don't know. I really don't know. I know is I can't see as well, and I really don't like that. Like, it's really affected my eyesight, and also my children. I could see those effects. So, I know that sounds maybe a little wild, because I feel like what do you notice? Everybody's going towards AI and kind of jumping it all in.
This is what I can distinguish, because this one we will see tomorrow in the Founders Breakfast. Will be talk about AI, among the others, from the perspective of developing. I don't know if in China and the United States, because I don't know the program, but coming to a general knowledge of what we had to talk about, like on Founders Breakfast about AI, the tendency is people in the United States, recently they banned China to have sharing AI like concepts, like President. I can't remember if that was President Trump, but whoever was that in the United States, they did like the first, the second, the third class of countries that can like do cooperation with AI. So, United States, they do their camp with AI. China is doing their camp with AI, but they're faster to develop because they have more people to create technology. In Europe, just recently I saw the news, luckily for us, countries among the others, Poland, Austria, I can remember. I can't name the countries, but there were several countries, they started developing their own AI within March this year. So they're just freshly opened, just settled down in these countries. But from what I observe and have experience with AI in Europe, I would say now from European point of view, specifically about Poland, it is not as advanced as in China. Overall, we have knowledge how to use, for example, ChatGPT, how AI is entering the market with service and everything, but still this is not as advanced as probably China is the most advanced. Like, they have factories and everything, even like the shops, they already are served by AI, and this is coming soon in Europe. And about the United States, I don't know at all. I'm curious to hear from you how it goes.
I heard the other day they have AI nurses now, but now the nurses are standing up and saying no. Like, we're not going to have robot nurses.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, yeah, so that's kind of something that I heard new was that. I've talked to a lot of my students. I've taught the book I, Robot by Asimov, and in different books and the essays that they write. I have yet really to have one student that has a lot of positive feelings about AI. I have one of my students was laughing with me because he's like, oh yeah, we have a robot at home who cleans the floors. And he always dings my dad's piano, and he does such a crappy job that his dad has to mop. He'll come home and see his dad cussing around, mopping the floor after the robot. And so it just, I just think to myself, like, what? Why am I going to like let the robot do all the fun stuff? Like, I'm sure to like write my emails for ChatGPT. Cool. Like, yeah, because who wants to write 50 million emails? Like, you know what I mean? Stuff like that. Like, make the robot work for me. One thing that really freaks me out is like having AI do your creative pursuits for you. It's like, isn't that the joy of life? Is like painting and like creating. It's like, what are you gonna let a robot do that for you and read for you? My kids, like, one of my students was like, well, you could have the robot like do your homework and like learn for you. And I was like, isn't that kind of like going to the gym and bringing a robot with you and telling the robot to like do push-ups for you? I'm like, what are you learning for? I'm like, you're learning to make your brain strong. You're learning to create critical thinking and to build background information so that you can have like in-depth conversations and learn. And I'm like, are we letting robots dump? We're allowing ourselves to be stupefied and just going blindly with the program, and like all of a sudden, like, what am I gonna do? Now I'm gonna let you paint my pictures. Now I'm gonna let you tend my child's wounds. Like, what am I gonna do? Like, what is a human for? Well, we give energy. So where's my energy going? My currency, where is it being funneled and siphoned, you know? And I can feel this even in relationships I've had. Where, have you ever been in a relationship with someone where you feel like they always want more, and you're giving it, and you're tired and fatigued, and you're not spending any time doing what you love, but you think, oh, this relationship makes my life better. But really it's not. It's actually draining life, okay? And so like, I'm slowly learning, like, you know what my superpower is as a human? It's one, it's connecting with other people, right? But two, I also have the option to say no.
True.
Like, I don't have to give you money. Like, I don't have to pick you up. I can just put you aside. You know what I mean? I can take my attention back from you and pretend like you don't exist. You don't, you know, not that you don't matter, but like, I am like, so it's just getting harder to make those kind of choices, isn't it, Courtney? Like, how do we get to make those choices?
This is what I can say. This is what I will grab a little bit a topic, for example, of what I would bring from China to Poland. And here, the experience of Founders Breakfast, this is one of those things that I consider, if I take it to at least Poland, because of course I can take it to so-called Europe, but as Europe has multiple countries, I think to start from Poland first, where people, they get the same chance of, let's say, getting education, like through meetings with entrepreneurs, startups, designers, AI, IT guys, and because like this Founders Breakfast, it includes a lot of like topics, a lot of people, and as you said with AI, that is actually one of these ideas I would like to bring to Poland, Europe, is that we have this hot discussion and brainstorming how to use AI and how to not let it take over us in, as you said, like the job, whatever, like, okay, using AI, for example, if you do repetitive job like email or some accounting, so calculations, okay. Or maybe in the brainstorm, if you are like self-employed and you want to do brainstorming, how to use AI. But then, which steps to take so we still control the work in the way that we are capable to work, we are capable to get knowledge, and not being replaced fully by AI. This is something I would bring from China to Europe, because this is what I learned here being in Shanghai.
Dude, I think that's a good idea. So like creating a community.
Yeah.
And I think that's so important because nobody asked us what rules we think. Like I remember in that book, it was like the first rule that all the AI had to follow is that it could not harm humans. And like nobody ever asked humanity we never had that talk. True. And so now it's almost like the people that own the technology and stuff aren't going to give us those opportunities. We have to actually create those for ourselves. And that's one thing, as I've always noticed, is if we rely like on big systems of government to help us or like fix things, just from what I've seen and learned about in my lifetime, even from like Hurricane Katrina, 9/11, I lived through those things. I used to live in New Orleans and the South. When that happened, it wasn't FEMA helping the people, right? It was the people helping the people, your neighbors, right? Sure. And so even in COVID, when it should have been, hey, Gordy, I'm going to go next door and, hey, you want to trade some toilet paper for some lettuce or, you know what I mean? Yeah. Something like that. It was almost like we were like purposely kept from being able to like rely on each other. Even in Woodstock, I think they brought in the old Woodstock. They brought in the American Army because they were like, oh my God, the kids are going to be hungry. And they weren't. They made their own soup lines and they had everything, food going. People can take care of themselves. And so I think that's a really good thing that you just said, is like these groups that we need to group up and like talk about this stuff, because nobody's going to do it for us. We have to reach out and like create these places for ourselves and these environments for ourselves, and talk about that kind of stuff, like what kind of limits. And that's where the pressure is going to come from. The pressure is going to come from the people. The people are going to go, you know what? I don't like this, and until you change it, I'm not going to have anything to do with your tech. So this needs to change first. And if they want to keep money in their pocket, and if they want to continue their business, then that business model needs to be fit for the people. And the only way they're going to change is if you take away the money or the support that they seek, right? But the only way that's going to happen is if like we get together and like start to talk and like start to break these bridges down, these dividing, these fences, so to speak, that have been created between us that are like illusionary bullshit, excuse my language, but you know what I mean? And just get to know each other, because we're not different. Like we're not different. We're human, right? And so, and another weird thing, whoever said that I want my AI bot to talk to me like a human? True. I think that is a very sneaky, dangerous situation. Like, we are the master. And if we can't differentiate, if I am feeling inspired to tell my chatbot on ChatGPT, thank you, I appreciate you for helping me, because I feel that feeling like it's a human, that's a problem, because it's not a human and it doesn't understand me emotionally. It has no capacity But because it's presented in this way, just like my food is given to me, what's in it? Just like the water is here, what's in it? You know what I mean? It's like this is presented to me. I want it to be in the form of what it is as a tool. I don't want it playing on my heartstrings. I don't want my government pretending to be my friend. It's a tool. It's supposed to function as a tool that I use for myself. It's not a psychology. It should have nothing to do with that. Do you think that's weird?
You know, this is something that I believe we should get more educated, because that's the point among the others in China. What I like, they touch it like okay. Not always, not everywhere, of course, because when we talk about China, we talk about population of 1.5 billion.
Right.
But at least there are a group of people, at least monthly, there are like thematical meetings about AI. Whereas, I don't know, it's been some time I've been to Europe and I didn't see any program similar to what we have here in China. That will be to discover soon. And now dropping down, because also on YouTube they don't like when we exceed like an hour, because later the also audience like
Gets bored. Yeah, you get so
I
bored.
want to ask you guys, write in comment section, how did you like our conversation today? It was supposed to be like more like about China itself, but since I also aimed to have it like more open topic, I'm curious, how did you like overall the video? If you want to have specific topic, we either talk live or we'll see, because soon both of us were moving on, and maybe it can be, let's say, more difficult to catch up, but maybe through Skype. And if you have more like questions or something you want to know, either from Lanola or from me, from what we talked today about, writing comments. And what are your overall impressions of, if we sum up from now, I say American, you say American and Chinese experience, and I will say Polish and Chinese experience. Like, as for example, we named AI one thing we can name for like 1 minute, like a sum up.
I like the whole conversation. I'm excited to go see Poland. I've never been to Europe, so I would love to see that part of the world. But I would just say my experience sum up for China and America is, you know what, the cultures are a bit different, but the people are all the same. And I think that we both can learn from each other and be inspired by each other, and for many different things. And I would ask other Americans to open yourselves up a little bit more to understand the culture here in China and the benefits and the value of that. And I gosh, on both sides we can share.
True.
Sharing.
And what I can say from my Polish side, I've been to United States, so I actually have a comparison. For sure, China is the country that is the most, let's say, different from either United States or Europe, just because, let's say, we kind of share some, let's say, values as American and descendant of British and somehow German. But what I like in China, even though with many things I may disagree because of current situation, I like they still have this vibe. Like today I was to the Taoist temple. There are still people who can come back to these roots, and what I can say, guys, we European, Polish, we can learn from Chinese in this case is independence. In this case, that as a country we are independent from others. So for example, we don't rely on United States or other country. China is not relying on other countries. They have inner power, which is really making them strong. They don't like follow, oh, I do partnership with Russia or I do partnership with United States. This is what I would definitely bring from China to Poland and even implement. The other thing, and this is what we can learn, all of us, either American, Polish, Chinese, but I would say it from Polish point of view, is to remember history because people like to manipulate history.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, China knows how to hold its energy. It doesn't just give away its energy, see? It knows how to say no. That is like, hello. Oh, man, a good point.
Thank you.
Wow, thanks, Gordy. Thanks, Gordy, for having me. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Lanola, for coming, and
Yeah.
see you next time.
Bye, guys. Bye-bye.